Hello? Okay, I'm live now. Today, we're going to work on our enemy AI. It's just as simple as that. I've done some work. There's still 20 issues left. It's funny because last time I closed out, I had 20 issues left, but now I still have 20 issues left. It's not because I haven't worked on it. It's just the nature of project management. As you close them out and as you add more tasks, new things come up where you're like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. So here we are. Otherwise, it's going to be a fun time here today. I'm hoping that I could at least have something interesting before I do my weekly update. I mean, that weekly update is keeping me on my toes, trying to keep the, what do you call, weekly update be interesting and whole. Like it's like its own section as opposed to being like, I'm still working on this thing that I talked about last time. So it's really pushing me to be a bit of a workaholic here. But I do think that I should probably take take it more realistically, knowing that it's probably going to be like this a few weeks here and there. Maybe I'll focus on doing some community highlight instead this time around. We'll see. We'll see. Haven't really decided on this yet. All right. I'm just going to make an announcement right here. Live now. Twitch. Excuse me. Oh, I almost bit my tongue there. Oh, painful. All right. We got Twitch link. And then we got YouTube link. Hopefully we're not going to have any connection issue with our streams. It's all in the pest. It's a task of a pest. All right. So my game right now, I'm starting to work on my AI pieces. I made it actually so that things are configurable, and I have configured it. I might change this implementation. As of right now, this is what the enemy AI logic looks like. They have a movement sequences, and each one of these I can define what these things do. And then it has like applied effect like damage, and damage can have like different type. This is a counter. This is a like, there's a dice for it. If there's any like number that needs to be added to it. So doing that, but also before, hey Petit and XS, hi. Hi. I saw y'all. Let me know if I'm seeing it delayed. Let me know if I'm delayed on YouTube as well. I think it should be pretty okay. But yeah. Anyways, so I got the configuration down, but it doesn't do anything yet. I actually wanted to make it so that when the game starts, when the enemy is about to do something, its intention, the intended action, the next action that's about to happen shows up here. That's my hope, that it'll show up just like Slay the Spire. But he says, you're fine on YouTube? Good. Access also says, nah, you're good. Good. Mikori says, it says I have latency of 1.3 seconds, at least on Twitch. Oh, I see. That's a bit slow, but I mean, 1.3 seconds is not bad, right? That's not bad. Anyways, so we're going to work on our AI today. We're going to lock in. I mean, there's not much new things to be talking about today, other than the fact that I'm trying to finish this. Access says, yo, let me fight him. He is hating that Twitch boy. Mikori is our mod. Access is like, I'm gonna fight this person for saying 1.3 seconds. I don't know what that means, but Access is like, what do you mean 1.3 seconds latency is nothing? Yeah, it is nothing. I don't think Mikori was saying that it was a long latency. Mikori says, I always get the hate. Haha. No, it's okay. You're catching the strays out here. Anyways, something that probably noticed, I also posted a poll in our announcement under our Discord. I'm trying to figure this out. So, if you remember, I did a little survey to see what everybody is struggling with and the kind of content I want to create. It seems like a lot of them are in intermediate to like problem with finishing, problem with project management, some of the more advanced intermediate topic. So I want to focus on that. Of course, my content can stay on that. And our weekly update is part of that, right? So that's great. But also, as kind of like the monetization strategy plus helpful thing, I was thinking to myself, I have been getting some messages. I actually been doing a lot of one-on-ones with people because people have been like, hey, Ezra, can you help me with like strategizing, like finishing this project and project management, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I've been doing it for free. And I've been doing it for like maybe the promise of content. I'm like, okay, well, if you can let me record and then I can post it, maybe we can just have that chat. But it's been taking more and more time. And I'm realizing it's something that people want me to do. So I was thinking, what would be the appropriate pricing for that? So I posted a poll for that on Discord. So under announcement, please put down the highest affordable one. Now, I understand if you're like, I have absolutely no money, so $0 is the only way I can do it. Put the $0 but content as the option. But if you think, okay, well, I have some money and I think this is like the fair price and I don't want to be recorded, put that as the price as well, because this will help me determine my next announcement of my product. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to do one-on-ones now. Here's a pricing. So you're actually setting price for everybody else as well. And for me. So be honest. Be honest. Mel Gibson says, I've been struggling the most with creating an MMO. A quick tutorial on that would be great. Oh, man. MMO tutorial? I don't know if anybody has a full tutorial on that. Theoretically, I can understand how to do it, but there's a there's a lot. MMO is everything, right? MMO is like action RPG plus online gaming plus server management and backend services plus like a data security type of situation. Like those are it's everything. So that's gonna be a big one. I guess that would be the tutorial. Here's how to make MMORPG in 24 hours. Can you believe that? I would never believe that. Mel Gibson says, like all of it, I haven't even started, but it's going to be my first game. Excuse me? All right. Well, okay. MMO, it doesn't have to be misunderstood. MMO could be small scale still. It could have a lot of features. Some of the assets are cheaper. But if it's like full scale, I want like Final Fantasy 14 MMO, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's possible, but. And it's especially not looking good because with the recent news of Ashes of Creation getting canceled, and then the New World, which was, Amazon Prime Studio, they also announced sunsetting that game. All the good MMOs are dying. Even the good, successful ones are like not being able to hold off. So we'll see. Petit says, MMO first game? Not possible. I mean, look, there's always exceptions to the rule. Doesn't mean you can't be the exception, but it also doesn't mean that you will be the exception. Because says, I selected both 0 for content, then 45 with recording. Yeah, I think those make sense. I mean, that's why I made it multi-choice. Like you can add multi-input because it's like, it's showing what your willingness. And I bet a lot of people are, I want to do it for free for content, which is fine. I probably will open that up too. But obviously, if I do it for free for content schedule, that means I have a really limited pool for that one. So if you don't want to wait in line. Kitastro +++, not sure what that means, but hi. McCoy says, as someplace Godot tutorials are heavily lacking is how to do multiplayer. Yeah, no, I noticed that. I actually should probably do multiplayer series. Stannis says 2-player MMO. That's not MMO though. MMO by default, it says massive multiplayer online, right? That's what it's short for. So the player might not be massive. Unless the two players are massive in size. Like it's literally massive characters walking around in this tiny world. That's just silly. Imagine imagine if we had like a game jam and game jam topic is nothing. It just says MMO. That's like the game jam topic. Imagine the submissions. Anti-communist says, everyone knows you can just ask Claude to build it with a single sentence, bro. Agentic AGI or something. Yeah, exactly. For free. So easy. Everybody just go. This is our challenge. I don't know how much Claude point, I don't know what they call it, it's going to cost you, but all you have to do to make MMORPG is, first of all, you tell Claude to make a game engine from scratch that's meant for MMORPG. And then you tell it, I want to make the best MMORPG that's ever existed. And then, boom, print money right there. Easy. Done within a month. Catastro says, it's totally possible to do an MMO if you use more time. Do you have time for it? Maybe look at other MMO game projects with even bigger team. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on like the kind of the scale and kind of fidelity and then the gameplay that you're thinking about. Because like you could think, okay, well, making a single player game with RPG with story itself, if you want the game to be good, and if it's focused on the combat and the story, that takes a long time just because writing story takes a long time, even if everything else doesn't. But at the same time, now you go MMO, especially if it's competitive. Okay, this is the thing. MMO is okay. MMO raid and like environment versus environment is okay. That might not be as crazy. It still is. But as soon as you get into the competitive space, like people are going to really get turned off by like bad net code, right? The server code. So then you are having to do a lot of these like really high level like synchronization, server as the source of truth type of thing. Then you're also adding like at least a year of work in there, I think. Katashiro, thanks for the follow. Mikori says something you could do that I've seen some other content creators do is have people on stream and have like a mock interview to see the interviewer's weakness without penalty. Okay, I could see that. I just feel like have I been removed from the industry for too long? I mean, 2 years or 3 years now. Like I'm basically archaic. I guess for that reason, I should probably interview again. I'll finish an interview. I'll get an offer. And then I'll say, hey, here, I got an offer. I'm going to reject it on stream. So I'm going to reject it. And I say, thanks for the offer. Goodbye. And then I say, all right, this can be you too. Maybe that's a good clickbait title. Though, I don't know if, as long as I don't share numbers, I think I can share that. Legendary Dev says, quick popping in. Hello. Hi. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. Kitastro says, I have tried to use AI to make games. Impossible to keep track of the code. Yeah, no, I could have guessed that. Legendary says, how's it going? We're doing well. The current status of our project tracking is that every time I work on a task, I add more subtasks. And then every time I close, I add more tasks. So the funny thing is I feel like I keep consistent at about 18 to 20 open items every day, no matter how much I work on it. So we'll see how it actually, goes. But we're on our enemy AI logic today. And luckily, the approach I'm taking is not that complicated. So the AI, I'm not going to make it so that the AI has like a programmatic determination, but rather a scheduled motion. So you can see, for example, this executioner one. I have these 3 configured AI movements that it's going to cycle through, unless it is not meant to be a cycle. If it's not meant to be a cycle, it only plays once, and then it'll go from top to bottom. I actually got heavily inspired by, I went to my friend's house and played Slay the Spire, the board game version. And I was like, you know what? Board game version has like fairly simple rules when it comes to enemy action and how deterministic it is. Yet it is still strategic and fun. So I was thinking like, okay, that might be okay. So I'm going to try that out as my first iteration for the prototype. Watchnader, hey, welcome. Hello. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. says, hiya all, what's happening? Second monitor content, dev on the primary one. Nice, nice, nice. That's how we do it here. I'll try not to be too distracting. Hopefully my volume isn't too bad. Maybe I'll say some interesting words here and there, and then it'll be good. Okay, I just used all my 3 snoozes for the day for the ad. So in 5 minutes, there will be an ad if you're on Twitch. Sorry. Let's see. Mel Gibson says, probably need to have a plan first before starting. Plan does help. But sometimes if you're like, I have an idea to make a certain game and I want to make it, and if you're not used to making software in general, that is overwhelming. Like, how do you, like, something I was talking to my friends with. Okay, so this friend that I played Slay the Spire board game with, he's also an Amazonian. I almost say Amazonian. That's the term, by the way. Is a software engineer in Amazon. So we're just chatting, and I was talking about how, like, oh, it's interesting how people are interested in seeing, because I was talking about my content, like seeing like project management or planning. And something that I learned over the years that I didn't think that was like not obvious is the ability to break down big chunks of works into a smaller, approachable, realistic goals for software. And, you know, questioning assumptions all the time, because we're used to being asked questions all the time about how the approach should be assumed to be you know, doable or not. So here we are. Okay. A lot of chat here. I'm gonna just catch up on the chat first, and then I'll switch gears into my AI logic. Let's see. Oh, redeemed change background. Pink and blue? I don't know if that works, but okay. What did you mean the pink? Did you want the blues to be pink, or this my backlight to be? You know what? I think I'm gonna make that like the blue to be a pinker color. Maybe this is pink. That's pretty pink. We'll do pink, and then the backlight could be blue. I think here. This could be blue. Ta-da! Does it look like pink and blue? Does this pass? Does this pass as pink and blue? I mean, this is blue. This is definitely shining blue at me. So I have blue right here, and we have pink right here. I say that passes. Washington says, love the lighting. Thank you. Appreciate that. The lighting, just now on Twitch, we have a light change redemption. So somebody just redeemed it. So we're now pink and blue stream. Okay. Oh, there's so much chat. Sorry, I'm slow. I answer everything. Okay, Mel Gibson says, first time I tried experimenting with AI, entire game logic and enemies was in one single JavaScript script. It went over 3,000. I mean, hey, if it works, it works. I'm sure it's very efficient, right? Anyways, yeah. Now, I mean, what people don't realize with like the whole like hype is that, I mean, that's why they say like people with actual engineering experience will be the more powerful AI user, because they wouldn't use it for the whole thing before a component in a like single step. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Might as well use a like a junior engineer instead of AI. Mel Gibson said, and it worked, but changing anything broke more stuff than it fixed. Yeah, of course. I bet like the whole concept of like maintainability is a bit abstract. Stannis says, that would be satisfying video. I don't know what video. Oh, you mean like making a I'm so behind. You mean the make MMO in 24-hour video idea? I should probably do that. But it will be a cheat. Like, I'll have to cheat. I'll be like, okay, here are all the pieces that I've been collecting for making games on Godot. And it's like Exodia. I have all the pieces, or like the Infinity Stones. And I'm going to use them all together to make an MMORPG in 24 hours. But that would be cheating, right? Because like if you're thinking that you're going to do that and you prepare all the assets coming up to it, does it still count as 24 hours? It's like those like cooking channels where they talk about like really quick cooking recipes, but then they have all the ingredients prepped already. McCory says, is a Tadra, Teskydra, destroy one ticket, 2-4. Yeah, it is. Oh, 56 seconds till ad. I'm just going to start the ad on YouTube as well, and then I'll see you after the ad. And for those of you who doesn't have ad, congrats. Congrats. You're awesome. Or something like that. I mean, at least you're spending money on something. Okay. I'll wait for the ads to end here before I answer more chats here. Washinator also says, it's good that you answer everything. That's what makes you special. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I just have obsession that can't be solved by skipping over chats. If it's there, I have to read it. But sometimes it does get overwhelming. But when it gets overwhelming, it's usually like bunch of chats that have no meaning, or like it's like raid messages over and over again, so it's not that hard to catch up. Hey, thanks for a raid already. Gee, I just got started. Let's see. Let's give a shout out to here. I think ad is in progress. Thanks for the raid, the Dune Coon. Ad probably is in progress. Let's do a shout out here. The Dune Coon. Washinator says the overwhelming means that you're super popular, like a good problem to have. Yeah, if that happens, it's a good problem. I'm not complaining for sure. The Dune Coon says it got me. No. Oh. Let me know when it's done. Hey, thanks for the sub, Green Marks. Welcome. I should probably friend our little friend here so I can raid back if I see them. Let's see. Cooley says, I would have an aneurysm from modding that size of a chat. That's why we'll have multiple chat people, right? We're not really streaming until we get like consistently 100 people, I think. Concurrently. The Haunted Sockcher says, oh, scary. Why was my question about set deferred deleted? Huh? What? Where? In the comment? Where? I don't remember. I don't delete any comments myself. Weird. In the TY chat? What's a TY chat? Oh, YouTube chat? Oh, weird. I don't know. I don't usually do that. When I say I don't usually do that, I don't even know how to delete comments because I never tried. I'm sorry. Well, let me know what the question was. You need to remind me. It might be out of context. Okay. The Dune Coon Squad. Hello, Raiders. Are you still here? Catastrophe says YouTube has auto moderator. Oh, it does? Oh, I hear that YouTube has auto mods. Huh. Hello, Raiders. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Hey, Devi. Thanks for the resub. Up and up. 16 months streak. Wait. Have you been watching me this long? Wait a minute. Wow. Has it been 16 months already? Gee. Wow. Super fan here. Appreciate it. Appreciate the 16 months. All right, everyone. I'm back. It seems like everybody's out of that here, so I'm going to try to catch up. And the Haunted Sock Drawer, just remind me of the question so I can answer you. Devi says, I know, right? Yeah, no, it has been that long. It's crazy. All right, you know what? Just so that you know exactly what I'm looking at, I'll pop the chat out here. And then I'll continue working. As long as no new comments come out here. Raiders, don't. Okay, let's prioritize Raiders. Welcome, Raiders. This is Godot game dev channel. We make games. Right now, we are making our roguelike, kind of like the Slay the Spire slash Baldur's Gate 3 combat inspire ones, where it's a very, very simplified tactics strategic game where after each encounter you get to upgrade your like talent level, like the skill tree, and then you get to do like combos and builds with your weapon and items that you gain, just like Slay the Spire, except you're instead of building deck, you're building your character. That's the idea behind it. We're working on AI today. Another interesting thing about that for the Raiders is that I have a YouTube channel. I would say it's pretty okay sized YouTube channel. We started this like a weekly update thing in my channel, where basically I was like, you know what, everybody, we want to finish a game together, right? I want to finish a game this year. You want to finish a game this year, but no accountability. So let's be accountable for each other by having a common place where we update what we're going to do this week and reporting what we have done so far. And it's been going for 3 weeks now, and a lot of people have been posting. Some people starting YouTube channel as part of this, doing devlogs and stuff like that. It's great. I love it. And sometimes I will, like, if I have less things to report for the week, I'll probably do some community highlighting some of the exciting games that are coming along, highlighting people's achievements so that we can finish a game together this week. So join our Discord if that's something that's interesting for you. Let's see. So that's the context of all that. And let's see, we got Kitastro says, if Ezra is not asking me to use AI in my job, then he is out of touch. Exactly. I am out of touch. I'm a boomer. Mel Gibson says, game engine keeps you organized better because you have a script per one thing you're doing. Exactly. But also you can make that game engine yourself. But no, I'm not going to do that. Legendary says, how's it going? We're doing well. Mel Gibson also says, but after I learned to refactor and keep script separate, I managed to do a mini GTA sandbox. Ooh, yeah, exactly. After you learn how to organize, you are actually software engineering now. You're making games that have scale. Catastrophe says, you know the pink and blue flag. Oh, yes, I do know it. Perfect. We're pink and blue here. I thought there was 2 in the background. I also wrote a 10,000 line Python script. Sounds amazing. If I can follow your steps and get same result in 24 hours, it's not cheating. This is a good time to advertise your Ko-Fi. Oh, Ko-Fi. I do have Ko-Fi, but it's like quiet. I don't know how to advertise that. Like, it feels wrong. It's like, just give me money. I'm not going to give you anything back. Like, it feels weird to me. So I can't do it. At least you can sub. And I'm working on a product. So I was just talking about it. I'm taking a poll in the announcement. So if you go to our announcement, I'm taking a poll for pricing because I've been getting a lot of requests and I've been doing a lot of one-on-one mentorship, like 1 hour weekly meetings and stuff like that. How much would you pay for a single session? And, you know, obviously I'll have to take notes so that it's like a therapy session where I'm your therapist. I'm your software therapist. Exactly. That's what it is. I'll be your software therapist, and then I'll be helping you through game design conversation, the purpose of your game development. I'm not helping you. It's more like, think of it as a service for me to become a lens to focus your plenty of ideas to make it more of a reality. And so we have a few options there. So go to Discord announcement and fill that poll. Let's see. Yeah. Dune Kun, thanks for the rate. Oh, actually, I haven't asked what you're doing. Sorry, Dune. If you're still here or your viewers are still here, let me know what the stream was about so we can have a little shout out that is more meaningful. Coley says, I would have an aneurysm holding. Yeah, we already read that. YouTube has auto moderator. What's up? Devi says, what's up? We talked to Devi already. Maxwell says, hi, Maxwell. Are junior devs expected to do greenfield projects in your experience? Okay, you have to explain to me what greenfield project means because I'm not familiar. They're out of the ad jails here. I'll be back on YouTube chat in a bit. Just give me a second. Devi says, hi, Raiders. Dune Kun says, thanks for the shout out, man. Yeah, no problem. Welcome, welcome. And Discord. Yes, we have Discord. Oh, hey, our mods are doing jobs. Yay, good job, mods. Devi says, yeah, don't forget the Discord. Exactly. Megan says, what's the fastest any of you here has done a game in time? Like launched. I mean, Game Jam. I've done 24-hour Game Jam, but it's like nothing that I would put on my resume, I don't think. Howling Fentado says, we're lead coders. Yay, lead coders. I'm a lead coder. I see. Yep. Rep the gang. Go lead coders. I said leap. It's elite. That reminds me. So, okay. I'm about to flex here. I'm about to flex my no. So the background is that I was a software engineer. What is it, Devi? Hey, thanks for the gifted sub. Average Goop got it. Whoops. Hey, I heard that don't shout out people who are lurking, and it seems like Average was lurking, except now Goop got the gifted sub. So you're forced to be out. Sorry. Before I started game development, I was a software engineer. I was software engineer for like 12 years, actually. I say around decade, like, because 12 doesn't sound as strong as like 10 plus years. So I say 10 plus years. So I was in Google, I was in Amazon, which means I was a lead coder at some point. But that skill does deteriorate as soon as you start like practicing for interviews. So I started doing that recently, because I was like, I've been off of it for 3 years doing this, streaming and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it out. So I got an interview. So I was like, I'm going to go to Hacker Rank and leak code to practice my problems. I'm like, oh, wow. I recall a lot of the things, but I'm like much slower now. So that's something that I'm doing right now. And, props to you, leak coders. Cadastro said Greenfield equals from scratch. Oh, I see. Are junior devs expected to do anything from scratch? Well, here's the thing. I remember whenever we hired like intern or juniors, if interns are different, because interns, we're supposed to give a whole beginning to end project, and then they're supposed to present it, kind of like class projects. So then, yeah, in those cases, a lot of times you are given a whole project from scratch, but then the scratch is like little relative, because it's like, it's scratch for that little service or scratch for that little configuration thing, but then the whole service is already there. So it's not really scratch, like system is already there. But I would still consider it a scratch because you're creating a new class, a new service entry point just for that. So is it expected? Maybe not. If I was hiring a junior engineer for my game, I would probably give them like isolated features first. I would explain them like where it fits, but I wouldn't anticipate them to understand it. It would be like plus if they do. Okay. So we got the lead coders here. Mel, the Dune Kun says, just studying programming fundamentals, doing some personal projects. That's great. Programming fundamentals are very important. Even though I do a lot of game dev content, whenever I teach, I emphasize the programming fundamentals, including understanding the reason behind the invention of different data structures and algorithms and all that, because that fundamental understanding can help you remember things better. Mel Gibson answered what greenfield means, recycling code. Howdy, been a minute. Who cares, YouTube? Welcome. Mel Gibson says, just kidding, it means making from ground up. Mike R says, morning all, everybody morning. Maxwell says, by greenfield, I meant project from scratch by yourself with no existing code or anything. You do everything. I don't know if that's expected. I could see a internal tool. It really depends on the scale and impact. Like junior engineers wouldn't be expected to touch anything that could, well, I mean, not true, but not spearhead any project that has a huge impact radius. And obviously seniors would decide which one it would be that. But for example, if I say, you know what, PMs, whenever, like project managers, whenever they are asking for certain changes, they have to cut a ticket, and an engineer has to use their on-call time to fulfill that, then I'll be like, well, this is potentially a useful tool. Can you make a script? Can you make a friendly user endpoint faced internal tool? Like that could be lightweight, where I would be expected to do from scratch. The Doom Kun says, have any advice for breaking into Fang? Well, the first step is getting the interview, and getting the interview is actually pretty simple. If you do it through when they are expected to hire, so like if you do like school, interview events. That's like high likelihood, but then competition is strong. Your resume needs to reflect a lot of like actual relative experiences. It doesn't have to be job experiences. It does help, but it can show like you have worked with a group. That's important, I think. That gives you an edge between the beginners. And then other one that I do emphasize, I do think does help is actually just cold calling and messaging people who are in the company through LinkedIn, who are in those companies, and be like, hey, I was interested. I was just wanting to talk and see like what it is. Hey, it's okay if you get rejected, like if you don't get any answers, but people have nothing to do anyways. They also they get a little, I don't know if things are different now, but you know, you do get, if I recommend someone and then they get hired, you do get a little bonus. So, and if you get a referral, that's like, they used to be almost guaranteed interview. I heard that it's a little different. So that's the thing. But once you get an interview, obviously you need to be a lead code top so that you pass the initial screening. That's just straight up technical. But after the screening, the final round, you really, it's just plain corporate. Like you don't even actually have to be good. Communication is key. Being able to identify abstraction is key. And then read up on their principles. Every company has their like little like pillars. And that's, yeah, you just need to learn to BS that. Like interpret everything you've done into that example. How can I fit this example to explain this part of the company pillars? Anyways, okay, I have to switch over to YouTube. I've been reading Twitch too long here. Osama says, hello, hi, long time no see. Nightbest says hello as well. Washinator says, almost 13K sub. It is great size. Oh, thank you, yeah. Now, I mean, I wish YouTube sub mattered more, but alas, I think I've been doing okay these days. I do think good growth coming along. I am excited, but we'll see. We'll see. 13K is nothing to laugh at, but still no silver platform or whatever, the silver plaque. I need 100K, and I am very much far away from that. Thanks for the follow, Doomcoon. All right. Watchinator says almost, no, I read that. Mythical Wraith says, hello, how are you doing, Ezra? I'm doing well. Sorry it's taking me so long to answer. Nubcake says, wow, first time hearing Greenfield outside of work. Now, this is funny. Now, apparently, this is a common phrase because I never heard Greenfield before. In all my years of working. Either it's new or old of a phrase. Okay, let's see. Devi says, oh my goodness, another gifted sub? Oh, I appreciate it, Devi. And congrats, Toon-kun, you got it. Okay. Devi says, my goal is to get to 50 gifted sub. Wow. Wow, we got a real supporter here. I don't think anybody can overtake Devi's work here in a month. I appreciate it. Odious says, oh, thanks, Devi. Just lurking and caught this out of the corner of my eye. Yes, all the lurkers get gifted here. It's a good place to be. Melgisman says, most coders I talk to that have some experience said they often just copy-paste the code from Stack Overflow after they knew what they needed. Technically, that's against policies. Like, it's funny because during the orientation, they often talk about that case to be like, you can't do that. You're technically not supposed to do that. But, you know, whatever. People do it. Odious says, hopefully, or Devi says to Odious, hopefully you join us again. Yes, that's the hope here. Odious says, been following since May of last year. Oh, wow. Long time. Look at that. We got all these here. Megan says, Greenfield and Brownfield don't make any sense in terms of coding. We already have words for it. Do we use legacy code or build new? Exactly. Hey, just say what you mean. All these corporate lingos. What is it? We're going to zoom out here a little bit and talk about our, whatever I don't even remember all the terms. I can't be as fluent in corporate talks. Let's see. Stand is up. Am I saying that right? Stand is lost. I don't know how to say your name, Stan. You have to tell me. Super Trooper. David says, welcome to the family, Doom-kun. Who cares? YouTube says, I've learned that even with my current job, that referrals are usually picked more than someone applying for the job who doesn't know anyone who worked in that company. It was very hard for me to get my current job now, but they were desperate for workers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired me. Yeah, because like the risk is lower when you have someone referring you. Like when I was working, referral was at least guaranteed screening, because like, like people who already work is vouching for this person, so at the least they're gonna introduce them to like ways to be successful. People who are referring has the tools to help these people actually get hired. And from the company's perspective, it's wasted resource if they're conducting their money or they're conducting interview using their own resources and that person fails. It's in their best interest if they start the hiring process, unless there's like a lot of candidates, that they hire you. Like that's the most successful story. Like they don't make any mistakes. 100% hire rate would be the ideal. So you're wasting less money through referral, ideally, statistically speaking. So it makes sense. So the whole like, I've had people contact me or my manager in the past of like just cold calling LinkedIn, being like, hey, can you refer me? Or like, can we talk? And then afterwards, it's like, okay, I don't know if it's just me. I've done this before. I'll tell you a crazy story. When I was in Amazon, tell me crazy for doing this. I took an Uber, and then the Uber driver said, I'm teaching myself programming, and I was wondering how I can get into the field, because they found out that I was working in tech. And I was like, you know what? We can do a mock interview, and then I can see I can tell you what you can work on. And if that feels okay with you, and you feel like you feel confident, then maybe I could even refer you. So we set up a separate schedule, like months later, to meet at a cafe. And then I just did a mock interview with the person. And then, they weren't ready, obviously, at the level that I was expecting. So I gave them all the rosters of things that they need to prepare. But yeah, I mean, people like me exist out there, I'm sure. I don't know if I'm like way too gullible or way too naive for doing that, but it's a thing. Guess Catastro says, Debbie, just have more money than me. Yeah, exactly. Everybody, we're gonna say thank you to Mama Devi here. Apex says, hey Ezra, how's it going? It's going great. We're chatting it up here today, actually. I'm sure some of you guys are just wanting me to work here, but I do need to serve the community this way. I'll be done soon. Sorry if I'm chatting too much. Let's see. Devi says, Cooley draws, gotta rep. Exactly. Catastro says, just learn programming for online tutorials. I mean, that does help. The thing about online tutorial or self-learning, there are things that you overlook, because what I say self-teaching is a practical learning. Practical learning meaning you learn things you need. And thing about learning things that you need, unless you're like really obsessed and like really interested in learning the intricacy of everything and you're self-motivated, then kudos to you. But otherwise, a lot of the tutorials, a lot of the informations are focused on people who are looking for something practical, meaning they can apply it in their own programming. They ask a simple question and then answer is like within 30 minutes or whatever. The problem with that is that there are a lot of like design related, the decision making, or like in-depth understanding that helps you like make a deeper decision when there is no clear answer. Like when the answer is not A or B, but rather I would do A if blah, I would do B if blah. That nuance is harder to learn when you're teaching yourself. But sometimes it does come up across. Devi says, our leadership principles. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to say it out loud because that's like specific to Amazon, but every company that I know Like even Meta, Google, they have their thing. Uh, Google has like the Googliness, right? Stan says you can just say Stan and Stanny. Okay, I'll say Stan or Stanny. Nightbest says they mentioned green and brownfield in my CS classes. I think it's old terms from physical engineering. Oh, I see. Huh. Greenfield has nothing built on it yet. Brown has some development already. Brown is brownfield because somebody already pooped on it, basically. Is that what that is? Just kidding. Statue also acceptable. Okay, statue. I like that. Statue sounds fun. Or unless it's statue. Washinator says 100K will come and you will get your silver play button. Please, silver play button eventually, hopefully. Nubcake says yes, poop. Exactly. Medulian says, or Medulin says, that's basically where I'm at with coding. Like, I know what I need in theory, but it's not clear how to architect it and try to find resource for that thinking. I know, and okay. Here's also another reason why that doesn't, like, that's so hard to find. I'll show you my example. So my deck builder tutorial did well because it's not like perfect tutorial. It's like, hey, this is what I would do in real life, like live coding, if I wanted to make a deck builder without knowing anything about how to make a deck builder, just knowing how to make software. And people like that because, people who understand software got to see the underneath everything. It's not like fantastical. I make errors and I fix errors and people get to see it. Oh, hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. All right, thought was held. Where was I? Yeah. So I was gonna give you an insight to why it's hard for us content maker to make in-depth tutorial or in-depth explanation. Sometimes you strike gold and it does well, and that was one of my biggest one. But I did try to do that same level of in-depth like teaching on a beginner tutorial videos. Absolutely flopped. Like beginners don't want to see that. They're like, this is too hard. Like I wanted something like I can understand immediately, and they're non-committal, so it's really hard. And then I was like, you know what, maybe it's like I need to change the audience. So I went and did this like data structure one. Oops. So I did this data structure one. This is more like computer science oriented, right? Like where I just did like evolution of data structure, going through like random access array to linked list to stack and queues to hash map and hash set and how they evolved. And I was like, you know what? This is exactly what I learned in school and everybody needs to know this. It's probably very useful, but alas, that one flopped as well. So it's hard. I know that it's like not as entertaining for that, like people who need it. People who would love it already knows this, and people who need it don't want to watch it. That's the unfortunate part. That's why I was like, okay, well, here's a paid course. But of course, people are like, why would I pay a course for a beginner course if I can just get it for free tutorial out there? I'm like, I don't know how to convince you. I just give up. All right. That was Magellin. Answer to Magellan's comment here. Next was our references from a mentor worth anything at a junior level course. Our references? Oh yeah, no, it does mean something. It's very good. Junior level is the highest risk. I mean, it costs less, but it's still high risk, right? So once again, reference and reference slash what do you call the what was the word? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. It's the word that I've been using all day. Anyways, references are only as good as getting you the interview, but you do have to be good to conduct the interview yourself or do well on the interview yourself. Like you can't be bad at an interview and hope that you get it just because someone from higher up got you. Though if it's higher up enough, I guess they could have that kind of power, but that's just nepotism. Unless you have nepotism ready unlocked, you can't use that. Let's see. Like I said, these days it's hard to find a good streamer or YouTuber who's handsome but also talks about signals and how to connect them to character body 3D centered area. Oh, it is so hard to find handsome YouTubers that also talk. Okay, well, you know what? Should I take that as an insult? I don't do those things. Yeah. I guess it's like I have to do character body 3D just to match Mel Gibson's expectation. I don't know if I can match the handsome part, but you know, I'm sure we can work on it with the little filter. Nothing a little filter can't help, especially with the AI forward world here. Noobcake says, I need the superpower. What superpower? Nightpath says, from a mentor has to be better than no referral at all. Yeah. I mean, referral. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Referral from a mentor is good. If that mentor has proper connections. Cooley says, that's so wholesome. What? I don't know what we talked about. Sorry, I'm so behind, guys. You guys are really chatting it up here. My car says, I'm starting to work with tutorials that have a feature in them that I really want to learn. That's great. And that's a way to grow. Megason says, you can't even... People are like, you don't have to say people's name every time you do it. Well, like, I like saying it, okay? I like saying your name. Melgison says, you can't ever learn anything that you don't have interest in. Is true, just like tutorials in games. By the way, this is real. When you're making your games, think about this when you're trying to write tutorials for your game. People don't learn things if it is information that they're not interested in yet, right? If I'm like, you can pick plants by pressing E and finding it over there, they're going to forget. You have to be like, oh, you ran across a plant. If you want to pick it, which will be helpful for you, you do this. Nupcake says, nepotism. Oh, nepotism superpower? Yeah, that is a superpower that a lot of us can use. Let's see. Catastrophe says, LOL was from an era where everything was blogs and no vlogs. It's true. Nobody reads anymore, huh? I like reading it because videos are a little bit too slow for the type of information I want to get. Mel Gibson said, like, imagine if you were forced into a blessed ballet. Oh, ballet? Is it ballet? What is it? Ballet? Are you trying to... What is this? But you want to break... Oh, ballet. So it was just spelled wrong. Like, imagine if you were forced into ballet school, but you want to breakdance the robot. Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, it says you can... It just makes it more difficult. My car says a lot of them are not really complete projects. I'm going through one tutorial now that has a complete game loop, including all menus. But to get to that section, I had to go through the first 12 hours of it before getting to the section I wanted. Exactly. And it's really hard. It's really hard. Series is a hard one to do. Devi says, I forgot to show you my Blueberry Night. Oh my gosh, you got to show me the Blueberry Night. I'm guessing it's going to be on our Discord. I'll keep that. Or... Devi, you should share it in the showcase. Our showcase channel. That's what it's for. Be like, hey, I'm working on a character. This is my little Blueberry Night. I'm sure people will be excited to see. Okay. Cooley says, no. What did I do? Oh my God. What the... guys, just give me a second. Give me a second to catch up here. I remember doing greenfield design and installs of landing zones for AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud System for Enterprise. Yeah, that would be a greenfield project. That if they use it or not is another question. Devi says, anyone need a sub? Oh, that's a good question. Devi is willing to give out some free subs out here. Well, it's not free. It costs money for Devi. So raise your hand if you want gift a sub, apparently. My car says, one of my big tutorials back in XNA days was simple parallax background. It wasn't even a full game or system. It's because that's what people are looking for. That's what does well. Just keyword searches. Like right now, if I whip out my Bellotro car shaders, which I have, and I just say, here's how to make Bellotro car shaders. That's probably gonna do well. I'm keeping it in my back pocket right now. I haven't made that video. I'm actually thinking of sharing that shader as a gift for like future surveys or signups. So I'm keeping that kind of quiet. I did share it before though. It's legitimately Bellotro car shader. I figured it out. I feel kind of proud of that one. Stan says, sometimes the content I want to watch is I have a specific problem and I want to know how to do it well. Other time it is, I want to know how to think through it. It varies from day to day and problem to problem. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are a lot of things, a lot of different approaches. My channel, if you're willing to join my YouTube, is all about talking about way too much in depth. When I say in depth, I mean like more like the background information. The one thing that I always catch myself doing is like I always end up explaining like how the variables and instructions are constructed, or data structures are constructed in the memory, like the actual memory, and how like the registers and the cache works and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just a fun topic for me. Cooley says, "Oh my god, I miss XNA." Or XNA, yeah. That's one of the libraries that got me started. That's a lot of people's beginning place, I think. Not for me, because I've jumped on the game development after I worked my bones. Did the grind. Cooley says, yeah, I'm old. Or Mike says, yeah, I'm old. Mike R says, I was part of the team. We took DirectX to MDX and then XNA. Oh, yeah, you are old if you're working industry during that time. That was like before even, that was like when I was in high school, I think. 2008, circa. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Pythian. Welcome. Mykar Cooley says, oh, that's so cool. Thank you for your service. Mykar says, I'm still working with monogame system. Catastrophe says, if you have someone that high up, then why want to work as a grunt? Well, you need, okay, I do think that the nepotism people still need some like base experience to argue for jumping up to a higher level, even if they get nepotism. Because like it's like politics, right? You have all these other people who is gunning for that position. If you're obviously there because of the background and influences, then people fight it more and it's bad for the morale of the company. So you still need a little like explanation for why you got there or how you got there. Just very minimal. Cooley says, I'm patiently waiting for Godot 3D stuff from you, Ezra. Maybe. Micro says, what 3D stuff are you looking for? I hear it's still pretty good, but I haven't played much with it. C# is still my favorite language outside of C++, so it holds a special place in my heart. You know what? I should probably do C# eventually. I don't know. I just, the switch is kind of annoying. Catastrophe says, Ezra, make a foot. Is this inverse kinematic? I'm guessing it's inverse kinematic. Make a foot inverse kinematic tutorial, and I promise I will watch. Bonus points if you can give me a custom script that already exists. Dude, there's so many of those. I actually seen them. But sure, that was one of the topics I brainstormed. I was like, it sounds interesting. Like inverse kinematic is like a step into those like procedural animation, right? So I get it. But okay, I'll keep that in mind. Cooley, Mike R says, Cooley, you've been thinking of making content and looking for ideas. Oh, that's a great spot. Mike R, you can be the 3D counterpart to me. And a C# version. Debbie says, joke's on you. We read round here. That was the tech writer in me coming out. Oh, yeah, exactly. Debbie's tech writer experience comes in handy here. Mike R says, Ezra, from what I'm reading, a lot of people are coming back to written content with vid support. That makes sense. I guess that's all because people are tired of like snack-sized slop content, I guess. They actually want like, okay, you know what? I now realize everything is useless and I want actual sustenance. Well, here's your daily bread. I will give you something to read. Who cares? YouTube says, honestly, though, take out the referrals and internships. The market is extremely saturated. Not only that, companies want to hire people who already have XYZ experience. They want to train people when they could hire someone with more experience. Exactly. But there is a future problem. It would be foolish for a lot of the companies to think they can have infinite supply of untrained, like straight out of the, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can hire seniors right now. Those seniors will deteriorate. Like people who are not in the industry, like for example, me, I got super turned off by the company. So like, I don't want to do that again. Right. And there are a lot of us from what I can tell. And the thing is, like, they're going to start running out of people like us to hire. So if they don't take it seriously and hire younger talents to train them, it's going to be pretty bad in a few years. So we'll see. But you're right. Like reality is that they are not thinking about that right now. They will have to think about that eventually, but they are not thinking about that. That is true. Let's see. Cooley says, oh, that's awesome. I'm making PSX retro style horror. Oh yes, we got Cooley's little work here. I actually really like the art style that the Cooley has been sharing here. Look, this is what Cooley has so far. Look at that. Oh, pretty dope. I actually like this look. I like that it kind of looks like a what is it? Kind of like CSGO or before CSGO. What was before CSGO? Was it just straight up Counter-Strike Source? It has that look to it. Love the vibe, but it still has like that modern environmental feeling. It's really nice. Well done, Cooley. Well done. Let's see. Okay, nothing on YouTube. Nightbet says hands up. Hand up? Huh? Okay. I'm not going to try to figure out the context here. My car says, Cooley, been doing a lot myself on FP controllers, looking at different versions people have and bringing them together to something I like. Was thinking of making it an add-on. Ooh, that would do well. My car, if you're really thinking about contents, you should talk to me. Like, I don't know if you've been doing YouTube videos, but there are strategies to package meaning deciding thumbnail, the intro, and then the title that works for YouTube. Like you could have really good content, like really good material. And you know, that itself could be enough, but you could do more if you focus the direction that just give a little bit more attention to it. And I obviously have experience, so I think I can guide you if that's something you're interested in. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. Devi says, oh yeah, I need to YouTube sub as well. I got to jump over there. Oh, thanks, Devi. Either way, Devi, I appreciate whatever you can give out. And whatever you give out is enough. Nightbat says, Bilateral car shader release will serve as an economic indicator. Exactly. When I do that, you know the recession will be coming. Nightbat says, asking for a sub? Did Ez just age us with 2008, bro? Exactly. We're all in that space right here. Ooh, we are halfway there to sub points, apparently. Look at us. I didn't even know that I had a goal. 50 is a goal, apparently. I'm pretty sure 20 of them is just Devi. Mel Gibson says C# is really unpopular because of Unity. Didn't guy who made Buckshot Roulette port his entire project from Unity to Godot? Maybe. I know at least the Slay the Spire team moved to Godot after Unity shenanigans for their second game. So that was a big announcement at the time. This is the same for Road to... Yeah, a lot of people have moved to Godot because they were like, okay, Unity, this is like second time. Relax. Like, since they went to public, they've made pretty bad decisions. And their CEO at the time made some really bad public statements. He got let go, obviously. But the thing is, the story that a lot of people tell is like, now we know they can do that. And they are willing to do that, even if it was a mistake. So even if they say, I've learned their lesson, wait for a few cycles, nothing's stopping them from doing it again with better approach. Like the lesson Unity learned, guys, the lesson Unity learned isn't that they shouldn't do that, like that kind of like the pay structure. It's that they should have a better launch, what do you call it? Better launch PR and better launch schedule. That's what they learned. They didn't learn that they can't do that. They learned that they can do that and some people will stay. They just need to work on their PR. So, it's up to you. Washington says, so have you gotten any work done or are you still stuck with the chat? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We're almost there, I think. I'm about to get work done. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're here for non-chats. I'll be quiet here. I'll read it quietly. Cooley says, oh, that's cool. You should definitely make one. I'll probably use it. Mike says, I have been playing with a simple Unity tutorial and converting it to Godot. Not to do the game, but the conversion from Unity to Godot. I see. Mike says, Ezra, people are moving away from doom scrolling, so the written content is coming back. Ooh, okay. Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, I know that the the deeper content still works for YouTube because YouTube is still a search and watch, meaning people search things or people find something they are interested in, like they're selecting, and then they're committed to watching. Now, of course, people can still turn off, unlike TikTok and short form. So like deeper form still works, but then it's just like they're more sensitive to like, I click on something thinking that it's one thing and they're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. And they switch off. So a lot of the strategy in delivering something deeper in YouTube is still, well, here's a insane idea on the thumbnail and title. And then when they click on it, you show, yeah, you're right. It is insane. Or it is this thing that you clicked on and then talking about it, as opposed to doing all these like setup and introduction. People will be like, is this what I want? Nah, I'm going to turn off. So Debbie says, Mike R, that's fantastic for me, lol. Yeah. Maybe you guys should start blog first. Hot Studio on YouTube says Unity was banking on those runtime fees while pushing that deal, Premiere ecosystem deal with an Apple Vision Pro, and they both failed anyway. Yeah. Look, companies make those kind of mistakes all the time. Investors might hate it, but at the same time, as long as they don't go bankrupt and they still have investors, new people will come and say, oh, you know what? Why haven't we been making money? It seems like we have a great opportunity here. All these people, if we make them pay like $1 more every month, that's so much money. And then they're going to try to come up with it's somebody's promotion. It's somebody who's working there's promotion to make that decision. So the cycle will happen, I feel. Mel Gibson says YouTube Shorts are a gateway drug to long form videos if you want to know more. Yep. I need to be more diligent in making shorts. I haven't done that in a while. Debbie says, oh, snap, Cooley. Yeah, Cooley made some cool stuff. Cooley said, thank you. My car says, Ezra, my problem is that I left work over 2 years ago, IT-based, and as I don't like management or HR management, they will not hire me for the tools or programming work, especially because of age. They will hire younger, cheaper ones. It's true. I mean, there is a age threshold, I feel. Okay, something that was amazing that I noticed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what the market is like. So I applied, and I talked to the recruiter. I got into the interview, which I have an online assessment pending. But they were like, I don't know if you can go back to the level you were at because you took a break. I'm like, I'm doing the same thing every day. And then they were like, okay, give me an example of blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, I worked with this many people, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to talk about the time at Amazon, obviously, because that's pretty big. And they were like, oh, that was 6 years ago. I don't know if that applies here. I'm like that experience didn't go away. Like, it's the same thing. What do you mean? Anyways, it is a bit weird. So Cooley says, now I just got to keep Motivation. Mike R says, Ezra, nope, haven't started yet, but need to work on things to do as per my last chat message to you. Of course, of course. David said, it is. Mike R says, Ezra, my problem is I have disabled Sun that will not allow me to talk or record audio, so many have to use TTS system. Do not know if that will affect my content. Might have to make a person to post with. That might be helpful. You could always, I mean, there is way to hire people to talk for you. I would say voiceover probably works better than TTS. I know the short form, there is a trend for having TTS, and that's not as strange. But yeah, that kind of environmental problem can be a little tough. But if you're willing to write something and willing to spend some money, I think there are people to do it. Unless you can find a partner that can be like, hey, you can do this with me, blah, blah, blah. Top Forge says, the berries set the goal. They came sentient. Yeah, berries are like, no, you must feed us with money and subs. Shari says, good morning, sir. It's 4 a.m. from my side. Wow, so early. But thanks for being here. I think I remember your icon. I'm pretty sure you left a comment in our most recent video here. So I do remember you. Bye. Hi. Not bye. But good morning. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're gonna work here. We're at the last stretch. People are like, okay, stop typing, everyone. Cooley says you could have someone record for you if that's an option. Just send them the script to read. That makes sense. Top Four says I did too. Mike said I did create this short for some photos I took. Are you okay with me watching it? Oh. I mean, I'm going to assume that you shared it because it's okay. Hey, so you do have some experience of making shorts. Hey, these are fantastic pictures. I love it. Look at that. Very enjoyable. I like. Well, yeah. So keep posting. Maybe you could do programming stuff. But yeah, I mean, TTS, try TTS. TTS might be okay. But I feel like TTS is a risk on long form, more acceptable in short form. But that means you definitely need to adjust for it. And there is way to be just short content maker. And TikTok loves that stuff too. So you could do both TikTok and YouTube shorts. I'm sure you can figure that out. It might be easier than having to put your face or voice out there. It's a lot of work to edit like actual voice and stuff like that. Cooley says, I know these days I prefer text format with small video as supplements. I've been considering books again. That's great. Nipa says, Bite Me Games said they didn't get much long form audience from their short form. Yeah. So I mean, that's my experience, but it really depends on the field. The short form people like to stay on short form because oftentimes when you're watching short form, what are you doing? You're eating, you're lying on the bed, you're just doom scrolling. Converting that to a long form takes a lot of commitment. This could happen where they bookmark the short form and then return to it later, but that also means you need really strong like reason for people to do that. So I don't know. But if it's like funny, like it's like a funny game clip, for example, where they're like show one moment, then that's easier for me to be like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to click on the whole stream or click on the whole long form because I just want to be entertained. That's like a no-brainer. But if it's like informational stuff outside of education, that's like a harder conversion unless it's like edutainment. Kind of like I mean, that makes sense. You guys can reason this. Anyways, Devi says, I put my mascot Blue Very Night in the showcase. Oh, cool. Let's look at our Devi's work here. Our community leader. Whoa, so cute. Look at that. This is a character Devi's going to use in her story plus game. Look at that. This is amazing. I would play this game, honestly. It really depends on the gameplay, but I would. Amazing. Everybody go comment on that. Celebrate the showcase. That was Devi's first post on the showcase, so we're going to encourage this behavior. Devi on YouTube says, I'm here for memberships. Who needs one? Exactly. Hey, everybody who wants a sub or membership, raise your hand. Apparently, Devi's got it. Devi's got a personal goal to do so. I do appreciate it, though. Sherry says, it's my pleasure that you remember me, sir. Did Obsidian contact you to collab, sir? No, they didn't. I mean, I guess I could contact them, be like, hey, Obsidian, do you want to like, nah, probably not. They do well by themselves, but we'll see. We'll see. I was half joking when I said that, but legit. Magellin says, yo, I'll take one. Hell yeah. Take it. Thanks, Devi, for figuring that out. Let's see. Ukarijusu says, lol, now you got to read the YouTube chat too. Yeah, now I'm going back and forth here. It's okay. We're almost done. Mel Gibson says, the way of making money in the old days was paywalling knowledge. People have very short attention, like, not attention, but low threshold for sticking through paywalls these days, right? Melvin says, the way of making money in the old days was paywalling knowledge. First, porn sites changed it with ad revenue. Back in the day, all required credit card info. Kind of think YouTube is the same. The tutorials are for free, but ad revenue is supposed to be for supporting the creator. Yeah, I mean, like I share that whole thing, right? My monetization success story or reality story. It varies a lot. Unless you're getting like 100K consistently for every video you post, I think making it like full on full time is a little bit tough. It's a nice side job, but I'm taking a lot of attention to it for it to be just side. So I need to make some changes out here. Melgison says, then they cut the ad revenue and sponsor content in the first 30 seconds became a thing. Yeah. Mike says, Ezra, if I go TTS, I would create a persona and customize a TTS so it is mine, not rehash from others. Ooh, you know what? That will make it work. I think that'll work. I do believe you should probably still put a disclaimer saying that it's TTS so that people don't go weird with it, being like, hey, it is TTS because my situation makes it so that I can't record. Like just being honest from the get-go on your profile. But yeah, Debbie says, Coolly, thank you. Multimedia and animation degree paying off years later. Exactly. I need to hire Devi here. But here, Devi just paying me stuff. Giddy says, yo, what's up? Hey, Giddy. Devi says, okay, now, how do I do it in YouTube again? Okay. From what I can tell, I see this button right here. And then I see membership gifting. And I don't know if you can gift specifically to a person. Unless you can. Here. Let me see. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like there's an option to specifically target a person. I'm not sure. Oh, you don't have this option? Membership gifting? Oh, that's only for me? Am I the only one who can give gifts? Who cares says, you can't. YouTube is random. Oh, it must be experimental. YouTube has like experimental features that are not open to everyone sometimes. They're rolling out slowly. What is it? They used to have a tool name for these things. Giddy says, I can give membership too. Aw. Well, alas. I'm sorry, Devi. I know out of all your generosity, it seems that we're stuck here. I appreciate the thought, though. Top Forge says, cute. Cooley says, I may have missed it, but is this for anything or just cute art? Cute art for story and game, I believe. Who cares? YouTube says, you can't. YouTube is random. No, that feature is strictly for channel owner. I think you get 10-ish per 30 days for free. I could be wrong. Really? Is that free? So I can just like send 5? Let me try it. I'll try it out. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Heck yes. I think it gave to everyone except the people who raised their hand. Okay. Lucky recipients select by YouTube get 1 month. Watch it actually charge me, and then I get charged on my, like, what do you call? On my bank account. I'm like, ah, man, it wasn't free after all. But it's okay. This happens. Reginald says, that's tough. It's okay. Here, I'm going to do 5 more. Hopefully it really doesn't charge me. Ember says deducted from profits. Oh, I see. So I shouldn't just like give it. Oh, okay. Now it says I got to buy it. Look, for 10, it was free, but now I have an option to buy. So, well, here you go. We've been gifting here. Ember says, I don't know if that is the case. I'm just trolling. Oh, I see. Gee. Look, I'm gullible out here. Remember, I just told a story. Nobody responded to that story, though. Tough forge. Cooley says, YouTube, give them a break. They're a small indie company. Yeah, exactly. Mel Gibson says, the current YouTube meta is slop with a good thumbnail, with an excited voice and dramatic. What will happen next? I predict in 5 years, everyone will be able to recognize it, and the new meta will just be better than above average, better than slop. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm noticing. I've already switched over. People prefer thumbnails that looks like made by some random person. They like slower, lower edited video unless it's entirely professional. Then they're like, okay, this doesn't look like AI slop. This looks professional. Kitty says, thanks, Ezra. Yeah, no problem. Wash says, no, I didn't win one. I'm sorry. That's what we got here. Debbie says, oh no, Wash, are you on Twitch? I can give you on there. Shiri Singh says, sir, let's make an open source game engine on Rust. What? That's not my to-do list. All right, everyone, I caught up here. Okay, task list. Implement. Let's see, AI component preview. I believe that's what I was working on. Show symbols representing upcoming move by AI above enemy character body to signal upcoming action. Yes, so I'm going to make some symbols here. Probably not a permanent one. It's just temporary placeholder. I just opened the wrong software. That's not what I meant to open. Let's see. So a simple one. Let's do 32 by 32 here. And then I'm going to use my correct color palette as soon as this thing goes away. Hello. My fantasy palette. And then a few things I'm going to make. One of them is, I guess I'll make a small hit, big hit, and then range hit, I guess. So this is going to be a small hit, little like dagger looking thing. Boom, boom. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to look amazing. Just needs to tell a story. This will be my small hit icon. Let's see, save as, I guess this goes under combat UI, potentially. Combat UI, and then call it action preview. No, actually it might be under action. No, it's the enemy intent. Maybe it should be under enemy intent, actually. AI? I have to think about this. Data, ability effect. I think it should be under combat AI and then say action intent. Small melee. Call this PNG here. Wash is on Twitch now. Hey, Wash is on Twitch now. Welcome, welcome. Mel Gibson says, or actually, Who Cares YouTube says, it's not the case. It's 10 for free every month. A friend of mine has 20-ish concurrent users on YouTube, and he's been doing that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, thanks for another gift at Devi to Washnader. Welcome to the club, Wash. Now, who's going to renew it themselves? That's the real question. That's right. It's a commitment. Shari Singh says, why does it feel like a 5-minute craft? What does? Washnader says, quick, start chatting. It's getting work done. I knew you guys were plotting against me. Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to use the same one here. Let's make a new one just in case I get it all messed up. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to save this as a sprite file as well. So I have something to work with consistently. Intent icons. Oh my goodness. Y'all really chatted it up here. I'm not complaining. This is great. But my voice is out, I think, almost. Thanks for the follow, Hotbox, or Hotboxing. Thanks for the follow, Washnader, on Twitch as well. Okay, let's see. YouTube. We got Gifted. We got Devi here. Can't count these as mine, but welcome to the family, new folks. Hussam says, can you make a tutorial about Godot 3D, for example, like AI or Ragdoll and skeleton scripting and animation and blending? I guess I could. I don't feel as confident. I'll tell you that. My honest opinion is that I don't feel confident to give that because I haven't had as much experience. However, I don't think it's that hard to figure out. So one day, you know what? I'll do it. I'll put it in my schedule. It's hard to commit to the time of learning something for a long time and then converting it to a video. It's a lot easier for me to talk about things that I already kind of feel naturally inclined towards, but yeah. Lewiski says, yo, I'm here doing dishes, lol, but I'm listening. Hey, great. I'm a dish voice right here. Shari says, why does it feel like a 5-minute craft? I'm not sure. Agitty says, this is what I like with his stream. He always teach and talks to chat occasionally. Occasionally, I talk to chat too much. Who cares says, it's not the case. It's 10 for free. Yeah. Quiz says, man, cannot get Rust. Maybe I'm too old-fashioned with my C++ ways. I haven't even touched Rust or even looked that way, even glimpsed that way. So I actually don't know what Rust looks like at all. Melvin says, Ezra, have you opened YouTube and seen the suggestions thing in the YouTube studio where AI tells you what is trending right now? Oh, yes. I don't care about that. They're so bad. I tried using it a few times. I was like, okay, let's see what topic it comes with or what title it suggests. So generic. So generic. I'm like, they have to have the data. But it doesn't seem like they're going off of the data of what should be next. They're going off of the data of what has been working. And that makes sense because in order for AI to work, they need a copious amount of data. They can't pull copious amount of data on the recent trend. They have to take everything in and say, look at the recent trend. Anyways, I don't know. I don't like it. Melvin says, it kind of makes all the content creators to talk about the same subject. Yeah, I don't like it. It's bad. Melvin says, like, why everyone made Pyro software videos. The AI suggested it. I see. I guess that was successful then. I just don't feel inclined to do those things. Debbie says, I'm back on Twitch side. Hey. Okay, so we got the content. Malcolm says it's under content inspiration. Yeah, no, I've clicked on those before. Let's see. AI slop answer. Okay, I gotta skip over here. Mike R says this is what you call an interactive stream. Exactly. This is the most interactive it can get. Thanks for the sub, developer Krubaka. Kitty says this is what I like. Okay, we read that. Ayo, just got a gift sub. Yeah, exactly, Pasta. You got that gift on YouTube. Hello. Shari says, no, sir. I meant making the sword. Ah, I see. Wait, hold on. What? Why does it feel like a 5-minute craft? Oh, making the sword. Yeah. The sword is important because this is what they use in like Slay the Spire. And I like how they do things. Okay, we're gonna make a large one now. The large one is gonna be more like a what do you call? Like something like that, right? And then clean up the lines here, like so. Now, the most important thing about the pixel arting that I like to keep track with is not doubling up on the, what do you call, pixel sizes. I'm looking at this as like a guidance. And then do one of these, boom, boom. And yes, I am using mouse and keyboard. I do lower DPI for my mouse just to do pixel art because I like using low DPI for pixel arts. All right, so this is going to be the big sword. Okay, something about this thing feels a little bit sloppy, so I'm going to fix that. Maybe I have the handle moved down a little bit. It feels a little bit slanted, like so. There you go. That feels a little bit better. Maybe bring it down a little more, like so. Yeah, there you go. That looks like a big sword. So this one is going to be exported as a big sword. Actually, maybe I'll just do save as. It's going to be large melee. Where is it? PNG. I can't find it. PNG. It's going to be large or medium. Should it be medium melee? I'm going to call it. I'll call it medium melee for now. I'm not going to make a large one. Shari says, the pirate sword. Yes, exactly. R. We be pirates here. Let's see. Devi says, thanks for the gift sub. Devi says, oh, I thought I would do that. AI sub answer. This is what you call an interactive stream. Devi says, all of them under Mama Devi. Exactly. Devi's just collecting people right now. She's actually a vampire. You're all her minions. Watchnator says, so since I'm online on both YouTube and Twitch, I can just cross-chat with myself. That'll throw Ezra off, and he'll lose focus on work. I mean, it's already too late. I already lost focus on everything. I don't actually know who I am and where I am. We're going to make a small range. All right, guys. Don't try to thwart me. I'm trying to do work here. Everybody's like trying to be like, Ezra, be quiet and focus. Okay, how about I do this as like a small one? And then I guess I'll make that something like that. Now, the name of the game for a lot of the pixel art is always trust the process, isn't it? It is. We'll do this like that. And then boom. Boop. And we'll, I guess I could just make this bright because it needs to stand out, I think. I don't know. I kind of like it red. I'll keep it red. Keep it red. Do one of these here. I'm not supposed to spend too much time on this because it's supposed to be just a placeholder. So I'm trying not to be too obsessed or too obsessive with the art approach here. Given that I'm really planning on changing this anyways. Okay. Boom. 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 Kind of, maybe. Small range. I don't know if it reads as a small range, but it's a range. Let's see. Washington says, so since I'm online on we already read that. Cool. He says, Ezra learns 3D streams. Let's go. Oh, 3D hours. I do need to download, what is it? What is the program? Blender. And then learn how to do Blender. That might get me a little bit too obsessed, though. Like obsessive. Hey, JD Dev. Hey, how is it that I'm 1 hour and 30 minutes in and JD claims the first? Unfortunately, JD, your first doesn't really count because you don't have a berry. You gotta plant a berry and then claim first again to get the little first finger. Hotbox says, thick sword, indeed. Thick sword, indeed. We love a good old thick sword. We like it thick here, everyone. Washington says, nice plotting. Hee hee hee. Tau 4 says, I think something about inverse kinematic would get views because it's new and not. Is it new? JD already did it. Oh, speaking of inverse kinematic, JD made a video on inverse kinematic recently, by the way. Hey, drop your link. JD, drop your link on the video. So if you're interested, go check it out. And I'll do my own version eventually once I get it. Devi says, Washinator, Diabolical, I like it. Oh my gosh, I still need to catch up on YouTube now. Who Cares YouTube says, not gonna lie, even though AI slop is everywhere, I think mixing a little bit of AI with true talent makes a deadly dev. I can tell you, I've been trying my hardest for years to learn long polling and sockets, but just couldn't get the hang of it. I use AI to generate me a long polling JS file and definitely works on. I mean, there are cases, like for example, I do a lot of his history research, like a preliminary research, like a knowledge shotgunning with AI. That does help. It does help. I do my knowledge shotgunning with AI, and then I do like the dive deep, by my old research method. Also for like shader, I'm weak on shader because I don't do it a lot. But like getting a little bit of like guidance that way, it does help. But I still need to confirm. I do say if you use it like you would with Google, it's pretty powerful. Washington says but it's still expensive. I really think, like, here's the thing. My biggest gripe my biggest reason for why AI can't sustain into future is the cost. The business operation of supporting AI is just not there, everyone. Realistically, it's just not there. Ah, shoot. I saved the wrong one. Here. This is melee thingy. Oh, that's why I don't want to save as. Okay, well, hold on. So I'm going to save this as my A-sprite file of intent icons. And then I'm going to have to just export. Export this as small range physical. Large range, not really sure what that would look like. Let's do a large range. I guess large range might look more foreboding. Like more mechanical, maybe? I mean, okay, I'm pretty sure I just used that word wrongly. I don't think I meant to say foreboding. Do not know vocabulary. What do vocabulary mean? It's like this. Not me catching my own. Okay, hold on. I need to find what crossbow looks like, actually. Old crossbow. Okay, I see. All right. Bolt slot trigger. Okay, so it can be thinner. It just needs a stock, that's all. What if I draw a musket for the shape? How about that? I think that could work. I just need to make sure that the pattern is 2 1 2 1 2 1. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. There you go. It's a little slanted, but we can fix that. Not a problem. Troll Debug says, hi there. Hi, Troll. Jeez. Okay, don't worry. I'll catch up on the... I'll have to catch up on the chat here. I'm sorry. There's just too many backed up now. All right, YouTube. Giddy with the Godot icon. Husam says, I can't figure out the engine is a mess. Huh? Giddy says, it's a lot of trial and error to get 3D Ragdoll working in Godot. A lot of adjustments. Bruno Cesar says, this is for your roguelike. You finished the skill tree? Yeah, we finished planning the skill tree. Where today's item is the intent. So I have the AI configuration already set up, like the enemy AI. And what I want to do, just like Slay the Spire, I want to show a little icon and number above the character or below the character to show what is about to happen, like the enemy intent for players to strategize around. So that's what we're working on right now. Spending a lot more time than I intended on reading chats, but you know, that's part of the game here. Shari says, sir, make a Glock also. Okay, maybe in the future. It's a DLC. Glock is a DLC. Sir, can Trump put a tariff on AI companies for stealing people's rims? You're putting a lot of faith on that person. Bruno Caesar says, I need to help my wife make dinner. I can't hear the live. Bye, and thanks for gifts. So yeah, no problem. Bye. Have fun. Spaghetti Software says, what's going on, fellow nerds? We're making games. Specifically, we're doing pixel art right now. Minecraft Bedrock Arabic says, no idea why I have this recommended to me. Just stop by to say hi. Hi. I don't know either. We're doing some pixel art right now for making some intent like Slay the Spire. We make games here. If you're wondering what we do here, maybe you are interested in game development. That could be it. Okay, back to Twitch here. Washington says, I did for you as a thank you for my gift. To the comment about ruining my focus, Hotbox Singh says, thick sword. My car says, is this still this platformer you're working on? No, this is a different one. This is a, all right, let me pull up the mock-up so that you can get excited about the mock-up, okay? All right, boom. It's somewhere in here. I shared it with my friend. Not that you guys are not my friend. Everybody's a friend. Here's my mock-up, okay? So the idea is that it's like Baldur's Gate 3 type-inspired game, tactical, roll to hit, roll to damage. The main thing that I find fun in Baldur's Gate 3 these days when honor mode is making a build. Class, talent tree. Well, it's not really a talent tree, but upgrading your classes, mixing classes, doing build here, combining with this item. So here's a relic item here, some moves that are based on the weapons or skills you have. Simply tiled. So I still want it to be like position sensitive, but I don't want it to be like full on isometric tactile or tactics. So that's the idea. And then the encounters are obviously divided by these like Slay the Spire like map thing going on, with some of the locations being fixed. So there's like some repeatable story component, or like if you are trying to go for a build, you can always go for that build every run, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Let's see. So that's what we're working on here, my car. Let's see. Devi says, like Pokemon. Yeah, collecting everybody like Pokemon. Devi says, oh, vampire? That's fair too. The minions of Pokemon, basically. Vampire Pokemon. JD does this, says, I am Infect First, Splendor, blah, blah, blah. My car says, I do. Oh my gosh, I'm like 20 minutes behind on these chats. I do a lot of 2D sprites in Blender and starting to do UI elements in Blender as well. I never heard of that, actually. JD says, not that recently. Oh, okay, well, it just popped up recently for me. My car says, yeah, Inverse Kinematic is new, sort of. It's back. It used to be in, but had issues. JD says, it's been a while. Mine uses a plugin to accomplish what can probably be done in Core. That's still useful, I think. Top Forge says, would be helpful. I want to make waiter PL hold a tray, waiter person hold a tray while moving. I guess that is okay. Washington says, how long are you planning on streaming today, tonight, tomorrow? Well, I have a weekly meeting for my class. Okay, well, to explain. So I launched my 30-day beginner course the other day, right? So there are a few people that are on there on that class. And part of the deal is that I have once a week meeting to answer any questions or chit chat for a little bit. So today is one of those days. So I announced that we're going to have our weekly call at my time, 5:30. So I have to be done at least before then. So that is, maybe I'll be done here in like another hour or so. Okay, look at this bolt being all screwy. I probably need to change the direction, actually. I might change it here. I'm gonna correct this to be more like straight up single diagonal. Maybe I can bring it closer. Do single diagonals here, single diagonals here, and then fill this up. And then we can do one of these things like that. I can bring it closer here. Does this make sense? Maybe it does. I don't know. And then we'll fix some of these things here. Just got to make sure it's not too lopsided. I mean, I did it really organically when I was drawing it. So just gotta fix some of these things. Hey, you know what? It's good enough. Good enough. I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but perfect schmerfect. Doesn't matter. Good enough. Good enough, everyone. Stop. I like how I basically am talking to myself. Like I have an imaginary, like judgmental person in my brain. And nobody's saying anything to me. It's just me. Okay. That's not bad. All right. This one I'm gonna export it as medium range. I want to make a let's see, strategic icon, like a healing icon, strategic icon, something like a spell, maybe almost. Okay. Micro says, I have ADHD and use AI as a project planning tool. I can throw the project into LLM and have it spit out a schedule. As I also use Obsidian, I get it to spit. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a cool usage. Thanks for the hydrate here. I should probably get some water. Try not to type in the chat while I'm gone, guys. There's going to be so much to catch up on. Look, we got a cat. They snuck in. I'm going to kick them out now. They're taking every opportunity to just sneak in every time I open the door. Though I didn't eat yet, so I do need to do that. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Hydrate. I see you, Washinator. Washinator on YouTube, the latest chat is like, we're typing as fast as we can. Look, I'm doing it. Double chatting. Jeez. Guys, help me out here. I actually want to make progress. Okay. Strategy, right? I mean, this is directly copied from Slate Aspire here. So we'll do something like that. Maybe I should make it a little bit glowier. Let's see. Hotboxing says, use it while it's cheap. They will price normies out after corps are addicted. I mean, they kind of have to because they can't. Right now, they're losing so much money. And they have to charge a lot more for it to make any sense. Sustainable. Matt Gibson says, you know what I think hinders paid courses these days? I asked AI what would be the first year what I would be learning in 3D modeling and animation, and it gave me week by week schedule, the exercise and how to. I mean, look, That's useful. That is useful. So it does make sense. The difference is that the person who is doing that is self-motivated person. And I would say, like, if you're a type of person that's like, oh, I can just do that and then actually learn, and that is useful, and I'm okay with that, like, if that's you, like, power to you. The problem is that people are not, because resource has always been available. Like, I find it funny because, like, these type of, like, resources and people teaching for free has always been available as in terms of, like, reading. It's just some are more, like, personalized than the other. I think just like how we have a community of people who's trying to finish a game together, a lot of the times it's a little bit more than just information. There are social aspects that we can't ignore, I think, when it comes to learning and teaching. That's why I also say still, like, even when I was in school, when I was tutoring people, one-on-one tutoring really couldn't be beat in terms of, like, effectiveness, lesson effectiveness. Magazine says, and it's obviously AI powered curriculum, but now the question is, how do you get? How is your paid tutorial better? As I said, social aspect, which is big, and you might argue like the social aspect is a distraction, which makes it worse. So then, like, that's more the reason. But you know, each individual have their own opinion on that. I don't think one is right or wrong, but that is my opinion. Who cares? YouTube says, guys, we're doing it. Keep the message going. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. Oh my God. I just scroll down. There's a lot. Watch this. Yeah, although all this chatting is eating my dev time. Yeah, exactly. Do your work. Stop chatting. Do your work, and then we'll all do our work. Tile Force says, I don't know how I got this recommended. Watch telling random people to come comment on the live. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing. Muggins says, it laid out every class on first week from September to December 1st. Look, hey, if that works for you, that's amazing. And maybe I would use them myself. Especially because a lot of these resources are free now. But once again, if it becomes expensive, you know, there is a pricing point where it becomes unreasonable. Tougher says, I'm an open book. To context of what? What? Washnader says something here. I don't know, dude. I don't know the context. I'm not going to chase it. Washnader says, oh man, this is like karma or something. I'm trying to rile the chat in order to make Ezra lose focus, only to find that I myself have lost focus. I guess you get what you order. Exactly. Exactly. We're all losing here, by the way. Nobody's winning. I'm going to make it glow a little bit. Maybe I'll not do this like off-white color, but, you know, I can change that color later. Let's see. Washington says, hey man, don't. I'm going to skip that. Who cares says, I've used AI for other things too, not just coding. If I have a file that's 10K plus lines of code, I don't want to be sifting through all that to find CSS color codes. True. I just tell AI to look through the file for CSS color and give me. Look, hey, like, I don't think we want to demonize the technology for whatever. I mean, there is an aspect of it which I'm like, okay, well, we got to figure it out legally. For example, the artistic ownership is a huge problem. When people are making the ownership and the legality of that, what the company can use as a resource, how much, like, you know, pre-telling does it need to have for it to be like ethical use outside of utilization. However, I would still say, you know, using it as a tool is great. Using it as a tool is great. If you're benefiting from that, it's great. I would still be like, don't grow too reliable on those things, because this technology currently is owned and run by a company and corporate. That means it's an opportunity for corruption and changes. So that's my 2 cents on that. All right. That's like a strategize icon. What's the next one here? Probably healing. Nugget says, it's more efficient, yes, but my question was, why would anyone pay for tutorial when AI has been trained on pirate books? Hey, that's not the question for me to ask. It's for the consumer to answer and vote with their money. I would say the same thing. Right now, YouTube trend, there is a lot of trend of unediting. unediting is doing better. And the question could be like, why would I watch something that is less professionally edited or whatever? But people are making those choices for whatever individual reasons. So, if it happens, it happens. But I think questioning that to not put out a product could be, not saying it is, could be premature. Pretty sure I just spelled strategize wrong when I was saving the file. What a loss. All right. Oh gosh, Washinator says, "Oh, first you tell my secrets and next you strip me of my weapons. You, sir, are worthy opponent." Huh? I could also just silence you. Watch this. Quick, we can backlog him so badly. Okay, well, I gotta get back to YouTube here. YouTube says, oh my gosh. Jeez, there's so much spam out here. Y'all. Sherry says, yeah, vibes like Fight Club. Washington says, we're typing as fast as we can. Nightbest says, cat chat. Shari says, Abra, Dabra, spammer stop. Washinator says, I bet he can't catch up all the chats before he has to go. Sorry, Shari. I was just trying to be funny. Luis says, I ended up enrolling for a 2-year comp sci degree. Just finished the first week yesterday. Yay, congrats. And it's going to be fun for you. I hope much luck and learning in your future. Sure says, why sorry, bro? I said it as a sarcasm, not seriously mean it. I missed that. Okay, well, maybe I should skip reading people's conversation between people. Kay says, I use Claude for like open source documentation that are not written by engineers, but mathematician into 300 PDFs split in a super great way. It's actually pretty good for that. Yeah, I mean, summarizing and parsing information is pretty good. I don't think that's so bad. It's a product that was needed. Okay, Washington says, oh, he brought the cat. That's unfair. Who cares is right. At this point, everything is already out there on the internet. Just need to piece it together. Devi says, Mel Gibson, AI still makes frequent mistakes, and as a beginner, it is difficult to tell when or where those errors occur. Our human-led experience provides clear guidance and context, reducing guesswork and help me build a correct foundation and confidence. That's from my perspective. Yes, I do agree. I mean, it's also... Sometimes beginners have hard time, like as you said, Devi, it's really hard to tell as a beginner if the information is good or not. You just kind of have to believe it. And that is also a big win over AI, I think. Let's see. What does a question mark indicate? I guess the question mark is like something special is coming. How about charging? Charging with countdown? Oh yeah, I have a counter. I got to do a counter marker. Let's do a counter. Maybe like this. Something like that. Something like this. These icons are getting harder to describe. I mean, obviously I need to make it so that these icons can like, you can hover over and see what that means. I think. That's not very good. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it so that, because counter means it's like, it's a damage. Like if you attack this person, you will get damaged type of thing. So maybe I could put a little sword and then put a little, put a little, some sort of like bounce thing. Like so. Maybe that'll help. Okay. Whew, okay. Washinator, no problem, buddy. Don't make things serious when it doesn't affect you. Don't worry, I don't think anybody's serious. Shari says, good night, sir. Sweet dreams. Okay, bye, Shari. Giddy is squatting. Sweet dreams, Shari. Love your hair, though, sir. Asian John Wick. Okay. Appreciate that. Bye. Magellan says, I agree. AI is really useful when you understand the quality output is actually supposed to look like. Giddy says, have anyone tried using OpenClaw? That's been on my ad feed constantly, so it must be the next thing here. Okay, a bunch of AI stuff. It's not longer the coding. It's no longer the coding stream. It's just chatting at this point. Yeah, exactly. We're just chatting out here. Now, it says regarding why look yourself instead of asking AI. My coworker asked ChatGPT 5.0 what version of ChatGPT to use, and it's set to use 4.0 because 5 was not out yet. You don't know how old the answer AI is giving you, but you can tell how old the book and YouTube video is exactly. I mean, there's some valid reasons for that. You could I do feel this way here. What I do feel is that if you really wanted to, you could always come up with an argument and a reason for all cases. So it feels a little bit silly. It feels a little bit silly to like sit here and, you know, make cases for this and that, because it's like, yeah, if you really wanted to, you'll find a reason for everything. If you really wanted to, you'll be able to find argument for everything. But alas, that's not what we're here for. We just want to make games here. Guys, we want to make games ethically, right? That's what we're doing here. Okay, this sword looks little banana-y. It's let me give this back a little bit more structure here. I guess it's because it's like facing the wrong way. There. How about this? Might be a little bit better. How silly. All right, there you go. Boom. That's my counter. Counter. Okay, I'm going to export this as counter. Do I have... I guess strategize will be all the specials. Anything that doesn't have assignment will be strategize, I think. Buff? I guess buff could be here. We can make a buff icon. And then... yeah. We'll see, we'll see. It doesn't have to be exactly readable. It just needs to show like a little reminder. It's like, oh, that character, when that shows up, this happens, type of this situation. Lewis says you could do a rose with thorns. Oh, for the counter? That's a good idea. Like a thorn? Okay. Well. Shari says, you too, Washnader, in case we hardly see each other here in chat. Good luck to your projects. Yes, everyone, good luck. Melgison says, question mark is statement. How does this make sense? Does this make sense? How does this make sense? Exactly. Function clarification. Top 4 says, exclamation mark. Yes, that is something I think we could use. Buff. I think I'm going to say probably... I'm going to make a heal icon here. I think heal icon should probably look like this. And then just copy, paste, rotate. Oops. And then flip, not horizontal, vertical. Okay, and then just fix some of these things. And then we'll just do one of these things, make it a little bit more organic. Like so. Then we'll put a little yellow light in there. And we'll get this a little bit brighter. Boom. And then we'll surround that. I think that works. I don't know if I should outline this or not. Outlining might not be necessary, but we're doing it here. Diffie says, Mel Gibson, I noticed that while watching a few people test the limits of AI, especially with game development, I feel like I would spend more time second guessing everything. I actually bought the course from Ez, and it's been great experience, especially with the weekly chats. I haven't drawn much in years, but going through the course, I started drawing again and building my game lore. Yeah, sometimes constructing things. Thank you, by the way, for being part of that. I appreciate you with all the feedback and all. There is part of construction process where it's not just, yeah, there's something organic about learning and doing that just feels different. That, I don't know how to explain it. I wish I could. I wish I could like effectively share what that is. But yeah. That's the best answer you're going to get from me, I guess. That feels more electric than... Okay, I like the circle better. I'm going to keep it a circle here. Make it look like a little little sunny side up egg with little tentacles coming out. Call that, I guess, buff. With one F, because I tapped too fast. Lewis says, for buff, I could see like 3 green up arrows. True. Ugh. Maybe I shouldn't pre-make all these. All right, here we go. We'll do one as an example, okay? So for the enemy character body, we're going to put the intent icon on top here. And then obviously intent icon needs to be centered. I don't know if there should be a number. I guess I should probably make a icon maker. So I can just like drop the icon with the interpretation and it does all the numbers and stuff appropriately. So let's see. So under combat, I mean, it's technically UI, but everything else is also UI. So I got to be careful here. I think I put it under action. Wait. Action intent here, which is sprites here. So I'm going to make a scene. I do think that it's a control scene. And we'll say action intent icon. I keep looking up because I'm thinking. That's how I think. Who cares? YouTube says, still looks like a banana. It's okay. It's red banana. Red banana means counter, okay? Debbie says, Nightbed has really motivated me, lol. I need to learn pixel art so I can transfer my drawing over. Just going to take some practice. Yeah, exactly. Mel Gibson said, I find most of my inspiration bursts by switching up between medium, between logic, audio and visual. You get burnt out of coding, and you get burnt out of drawing. You get burnt out of making music. You get burnt out. Yes, true. Context switch does help. I even find that my way to stay motivated is often I switch from work to work, but that also could be that I'm diseased as a workaholic person. Mel Gibson says, there is no rule that you only have to do one thing. True. Davey says, Mel Gibson, fantastic strategy. I do the same, and now I'm on my art era again. That's great. We'd love to see it. Washington says, Ezra, how do you learn pixel art? I have a tool. I shared it on Discord. This is my starter information that I share with whoever always asks me. I shared it recently. This thing. Here, I'll share it again. This is a great primer for all the pixel art rules that have been constructed over the years. You should probably check it out. I just shared it in the chat. They have, okay, well, in case you guys want to see it, it's like this. It's like a little slide of pixel art, but it has like all these like pixel art rules and logic and some tips of all kinds of things. Action, animation, effects, wave of fire, flame, mechanics, all these things. Jams, ghosts, ethereal. Now, of course, it's a very specific style, but it gives you a place to start. So I share this with people. It's also a pretty fun read when you're not doing anything. But that's my starter. Otherwise, practice. I'm doing a simple pixel art here. So like this is nothing to like. I am actually good at pixel art. I'm purposely doing a simple one. Okay, guys? If he says, I'm waiting for a pixel art tutorial, Mao. It's easy to learn from, especially since weekly chess. I will get him to make pixel art tutorial. I swear it's goal for 20. I have to do that, but like, I would make a public video for that. Actually, I would be like, this is everything you need to know about pixel art. That's a pretty big claim, but it's a claim nonetheless. If he says, funny enough, that looks like my back tattoo. This looks like your back tattoo. I just came up with your back tattoo just out of nowhere. Feels a little suspicious. Devi says, funny enough. No, I already read that. Washington says, I hear you, brother. And I totally agree. We 1000% need a pixel art tutorial for Mesra. Okay, I guess that's something we can do. If the people hath speaketh. Pixel toot. All right. Praise the sun. Shua 4K says, what's up, G? You using FX3, bro? I don't know what FX3 is. Sorry. This is a sprite. Washington says, he better do pixel art tutorial or I'm going to unsub and tell all my 2 friends to unsub too. He'll never see the silver play button then. Oh, no. Okay. It seems like my next thing has to be a pixel art tutorial. Debbie said, that's another goal. More sub, bigger community. Hey, yo. Yeah, exactly. Ezra 100K 2026. Let's go. Exactly. We're going to get 100K sub here. And we're going to have a great time. Devi says, I'm here to just throw monies everywhere because I have nothing else better to do. Oh, spend money on me. Let's go, 100K. Yeah, hella sleepy people. Hey, Brains App, long time no see. When I say long time no see, I mean like since last time. Washington says, oh yeah, it's that one. I've seen that and opened a few times, but I just don't understand it since my brain is made of sponge. Oh. Or cheese, maybe. Oh no. That means you have, what is that? The disease where your brain starts to get holes. Okay, we're going to close this out, a sprite out, and start doing our intention here. Our intent action icon, I'm going to say, hold on. So I want to make it so that I provide the type of action, and then it comes up with the appropriate icon. Now, we're going to have few defining things. So action intent icon will definitely have the icon part, which will be the texture rect, right? The icon rect. And then we're going to have a number part, which is the damage value. But I'm not sure if I'm going to make my own font or not. But we'll see. So value label would be like something like, 1d4 x2, something like that. Because this comes from the RPG space, right? D means dice is 4-sided dice, 1 4-sided dice, x2, stuff like that. And then the icon rect would be like, that's the damage or heal value. And then the icon will have something along the lines of like that. And then this whole thing, size, I'm going to make the layout to be non-full rect, but have minimum size. I guess it should be panel. Because I want it to grow along with the size of the whole thing. Is that too much to ask? It might be, actually. I mean, no matter what, it's always going to be at least like this big, right? And then I can make the icon rect be like anchored at a top center of this control. And then this one is going to be center, center, and layout, anchor position, bottom center, like so. Who cares? YouTube says, you describe my brain to Swiss cheese brain. Washington says, it's this condition where I read the text and look at the pictures and don't understand words and can't see the pictures. I don't know what that's called, but I mean, must be just like zoning out and stuff like that. I do that sometimes. Devi says, my brain is always in down, up, right, repeat, left mode, whatever. I don't know how I get anything done most days. You know what? I blame the long COVID, guys. I blame the long COVID. All right, ad started here. I'm going to start the ad on YouTube as well. I'll see you in a bit. Washington is like, same for me. Yeah, exactly. I think all of us are just kind of little troubled. You know what helps? What helps is exercise, drink a lot of consistent amount of water, and then sleep at 10. Wake up at 8. That's like pretty good amount of sleep. I say this, but I don't even do that. We got to do it. Hydrate. Yes, hydrate. I feel like I haven't stopped talking today since the beginning. Like I'm just like, I'm like stumbling around against my words. My brain to mouth connection is very like low right now. I also came back from a workout this morning, so it's a bit of a struggle out here. All right, I do think I made a global enum. I actually like the approach of having global enum so that it's easier to access as opposed to like going to a class name blah type stuff. Is this good or bad? Not really sure. I have no opinion right now, but we're going to have an export that says action type, which will be provided by the global enum.action type. And that's going to decide what's going to happen. And then we're going to give it the dice. Not a, but the dice. I guess. Yeah. Okay. So dice will be the damage value. And it's going to be an array of dices, I think. Because you could have multiple dice value added to each other. What about multiple instances? Say, instance count, I guess. By default, it's 1. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna say it's a single. I'll do a array of dice. This could come back to bite me in the butt, but we'll see. Who cares? Says sleep. Sleep is for the weak. No, sleep is for the strong. Only those who do not fear the night can fall asleep. If you're not being able to fall asleep, you have a lot of fear. You have something to worry about. The blessing of the rest is not for the wicked. No, I'm not demonizing you for not being able to sleep. But what I'm saying is that if you can't sleep, if you're willing to not sleep because you have to do something, that actually means I feel like mental weakness here. Aha, I flip it. How poetic. Melkison says, my best advice is that if you want to get things done, you have to do it in first 3 hours of waking up. It's true. Actually, when I was working as a software engineer, most of my work was basically like done within 1 hour, and 1.5 hours before the stand-up, before anybody got into the office. After that, it was like just drinking coffee, chit-chatting, and eating lunch. And meetings. Washington says, you are doing great, my man. Thank you. Megason says, and leave entertainment for the later hours, exactly. Megason says, I wrote work. Devi says, Mel Gibson, I remote work, and this is so true, lol. Mel Gibson also says, it's the only time window I solve problems or implement new features. True, true, true. It's the only time I can, because I actually need to verbally say things out loud sometimes. It's hard to do that when I have people around. Washington says, have you thought about using VS Code or maybe even Writer as your IDE? I used VS Code for the longest time, but I just switched to Writer. I'm liking it so far. I never heard of Writer. I use VS Code Okay, so when I was at work, I used VS Code exclusively. Guess what? Okay, this is going to age me. When I first started working, I used Eclipse. Do you remember that? Do you remember Eclipse? That used to be my go-to. I guess Mel Gibson says, I watch streams when I'm not... What? Another ad? Why is it saying that? Or did it not run? I guess it didn't run. I just snoozed it for 5 minutes, but we'll see. Mel Gibson says, I watch streams and when I'm not doing anything myself that is of importance, I'm just tired and I like to watch someone who still has energy. Oh, do I look like I have energy? Vega says, hi, Vega. Washington says, Mel, you have the right idea. You know how much I've done since the stream started? ... That amount. Hey, you know, we're helping each other not to work. Kane says, I was about to say that after coffee and chatting, then I would agree. Exactly. Devi says, he said, your brain weak, lol. You know, I insult for free. It's a free service. I'll insult you for free. Coley says, oh God, Eclipse. Yes, back when that was the go-to IDE. Who cares says, lol, I still use Eclipse for my work. Are you serious? I don't know why you would. Everybody has moved on. Even Android has moved on. Washington says, wait, you haven't heard about Writer? That's a new one for me. Really? Is it? I mean, if it's new and I have no reason to do anything, like I have no reason to look for an ID. What are you talking about? Writer looks like same thing VS Code forked from. I mean, it makes sense because didn't VS Code fork from like Electron or something? I don't remember exactly what. It looks pretty much the same. I don't know how it differs. Mike R says Writer is the best. Oh, is it? Kane says he should use Borland Builder Kappa. What? Is that another IDE? Washinator says Writer is the best IDE ever for sure. Huh. It seems like a lot of people agree. I'm surprised. I definitely wrote funk for function. Update, render here. We'll say, I guess we'll have one mapped for each action type. I like doing it this way so I can preload. But constant means that constant or static variable means preloading. If I want to load on time, I want to do a regular variable. Type to icon. You know what? This could, I mean, I almost feel like I want to make a static function for this, like a singleton, but I'll keep it here for now. Dictionary, global enum to action type. Let's see. My car says Writer is designed for game dev. It integrates with Unreal, Unity, and Godot. Oh, interesting. Okay. I guess I should check it out. I started using it with Unreal at first. I see. Who Cares YouTube says, yeah, I still use Eclipse since we're required, though I use IntelliJ on my own personal Java projects. IntelliJ. Oh, I haven't heard that one in a while. It's true. IntelliJ, I guess Android use IntelliJ. Their default thing. Coley says, even for GDScript or just for C#? For both. Huh. Okay. Runestar says, thanks as the dev. Yeah, no problem, Runestar. Hey. Apparently I have 10 free gifted sub every stream, so I was giving it away on YouTube. That's new. Mythical Wraith says, hey Ezra, how much time have you spent on the game till now? Wait, are you trying to attack me here? You mean today? Out of 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think I've used maybe 30 minutes, and like 25 minutes of it was making pixel art. A lot of chats going on. Oh no, yeah. Overall, so this one I have been pacing it with my weekly updates. So that started 3 weeks ago. So I would say about 3 weeks on this one. So I have some, I guess, like this is supposed to be the ugly version. So I've been working on this one for 3 weeks. Just overall for Godot specific game dev experience, I've been on it since I actually learned Godot through YouTube, like while doing YouTube. I started a YouTube channel as soon as I started game development or solo development, and that was 3 years ago. Kane says VS Code is not an IDE. It has language feature, but that's it. Washinator says true. That VS Code is just text editor, but maybe irrelevant in this context. Maybe I don't know, y'all. Like you guys are going to like specifics that I'm not really familiar with. I don't really think too hard on this. And then I don't know, maybe that's my fault. By definition, is it an IDE or not? I don't know. What I mean is when I say IDE, it's the text editor that I use or I code with, you know, and it has debugging features. Doesn't have to, I know, but I feel like whatever, dude. Don't make this too hard for me. Okay, is this everything? Buff, debuff, strategize, escape. Let me see if there's more. Range, escape projectile. It seems like that's everything, yeah. Okay, I'm going to preload some resources out here now. Combat. Melee attack. Ooh. We have a logic based on the value. Okay, so I can't just do direct mapping. I might have to do... Ooh. That's kind of annoying. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do... I might have to do just match case and load some of these in as a hard-coded constant preloads. To my chagrin, no fancy no fancy mapping thing. It's okay though. I don't have to do that. So I'll match the action type, and then we can have each of these. Does I know, okay, if I remember correctly, GDScript match is not quite like switch. So for example, if I have like this, or not that. Like for example, if I have something like this, and then let's say I want both of these things to do the same thing, I can't just make it flow through. It actually is basically a if-else case. Dang. So I can't be fancy with this either. Ruinstar says, there's a question that's been bugging me. How do you decide if a failed iteration on mechanic should be used for a different character, like in roguelike? You might have to reward that. I don't know what context you're talking about. Okay, let's see. How do you decide if a failed iteration on a mechanic... Oh, you mean for your game. So you had a mechanic for your game. You tested it and you decided that it's a failure. Is that what you're talking about? And how would you decide to use it for other character? I mean, I really feel like it depends on the feedback. It might just be not the mechanic you should use for the game. If it doesn't connect, it doesn't connect. You have to be able to cut it. Washnader says, this is actually my first time seeing Ezra stream. Would you guys say that this is a normal amount of chatting, or does he usually get more done? Are you trying to decide if you should watch me or not based on this? I usually get more done, but sometimes people are more energized. I do think, okay, this is a pattern I noticed. The pattern I noticed is that Monday is the most chatty. I think it's because everybody's just kind of coming back to work and they're like just like chilling. And then I have a long break, right? I do Friday and I had a Saturday and Sunday break. So everybody's like a little hyped. So that might be why. There's a possibility. Is that true or not? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Small melee. Well, actually, I guess it depends on the value here. I think if I'm just going to get the first value of the dice. Hold on, let's do it this way. The texture will be, gosh, small melee. If dice is not null, well, actually, it's an array, isn't it? Is not empty. And then the first element, can I get first? No, I can't. Front? Yes, I can do it. Front, dice face value times the dice count is what's considered large. I guess if it is like larger than 10, I guess 2d4 is considered, you know what? Larger than equal to 10, I think would be big. Medium melee. There you go. And then we'll do the dice separately here. Washington says, I prefer gun and or hands. What? Oh, first person. Okay. Hey, Dezorzu says, welcome. Hi. Wow. Did I miss something here? Okay, Mykar says, for the first person guys, do you prefer hands or just weapons in the viewport? I prefer weapons, but some people might feel differently. What about full body? So you can look down. You mean third person shooter? I don't like third person as much, but that's because I'm a precise gunplay type of person. Durzoa says, thinking of picking Godot as a beginner, want to make a 3D top-down racer as my first game. Do you mind giving me any pointer? Yeah, that's a great idea. Go take a look at, I mean, depending on your experience, but the best way to learn your Godot is to go to Godot Engine Documentation. Godot Engine Doc. And then just follow getting started and your first 2D game. That should give you pretty much everything you need to know. Now, if you need specifics, then obviously there are a lot of tips out there. But if you already know how to do it, it's pretty easy. You just need to know how to control, how to interpret key input to velocity, character body movement, and maybe collision and tile map. Melgin says, weekends everyone is drunk and watching Pokemon or something else. Is that true? Devi says, Washnader, he gets more done. We just hyped today. Yeah, everybody's really happy today. Which, I mean, look, I'm okay with it every now and then. Washnader says, so I've heard. Little birds told me. I prefer gun and or hands. Just look how Doom Duke. Yeah, same here. US says, hello there. Hello. General Kenobi. Is that what you were looking for? Cooley says, depends on the game, to be honest. I don't care too much about feet, but I like to be able. Yeah, I don't care about feet at all. US cut in middle, bottom screen only. Oh, that's a special type of things. I want left-handed and right-handed choice. Kane says, I just said that because, no, I read that. Runestar says, there's a question that's been bugging me. No, I already read this. Runestar is asking also, says, well, I know while prototyping, you need to iterate lots of variations on the core game mechanic, but in a lot of roguelites, you can unlock characters, think Slay the Spire, which works differently. Honestly, you might find out some of the things you can't really test. However, what I do think that you shouldn't think about it as like, how do I test this for this one particular mechanic? But rather have all of them with certain direction in mind and let the user decide. Just have a lot of testing and see what they tend to do. And then if they don't go for something, just go have a survey item. I noticed that you didn't do something. Is there a reason you didn't? Or like if you're more worried about like their comprehension, you could be like, oh, was there anything that you didn't choose because you didn't understand? Like survey is really important, by the way, guys. And also when you're play testing, do not interrupt the players. Let them be frustrated. Let it be awkward. You have to see it through. Don't correct people. And just make sure you have survey questions that addresses those things, because you need data. But yeah, that's how I would approach it. Lewis says, I saw an insane game on X where you are blacksmith. Oh, yeah. That's one of the YouTubers out there, isn't it? It's called A Cave or something like that. Oh, wait, that's not it. That's something else. Oh, that's pretty cool. Lewis says, I saw an insane game on X where you are a blacksmith and make a sword. Then at the end, it gives you an STL file so you can 3D print it at the end. That's pretty cool. That's definitely a unique mechanic. I've never seen something like that. Newhouse says, how do you feel about trees in FPS or RTS games? What do you mean? For farming? That's not bad. I think that's okay. All right. I'm just going to kind of speed through this right here. Buff, I think, is this right here for now. Might be 3. Debuff, I will put strategize for now. There's not a single action right now that is this, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Escape is also strategize. And projectile is just going to be range for now. Seems like there's no heal. Heal is considered buff, I think. And then for dice values, we're just going to grab the dice here. And we're just going to make a string out of it. And I think... yes. Okay. So we're going to have... oh. And then it's going to give string value here. And what we're going to do is a simple number D. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? It's going to confuse the DDs. If I do this, it's going to be like, what? What do you mean? I shouldn't do that here. Okay. If flat value is not 0, we're going to do something here. Result will equal to nothing here. If dice count... Oh, how do you do minus? I guess you could do minus value on this too. Is not 0, then we're going to add this. Okay, if the dice count is not 0, then we're going to say result will equal to dice count plus D plus face value. Oops. And then because dice count will be either positive or negative. If it's negative, it's going to say negative here, so I don't have to worry about that. I need to stringify all these. And then the flat value, if it exists, we're just simply going to put... this is not going to work very well, but we'll see. We'll see. This, well, technically, I guess I could do this like so. Could there be a better way to do this? Potentially. Do I care for better ways? Not really. Now, another thing is that if there is no dice count, for example, then we have to make it so that this plus doesn't get mounted. You know what? Here, this is what I'm going to do. If the flat value exists and the dice count doesn't exist, or dice count is also existing, then I'm going to do this whole string. If the flat value is positive, otherwise it's going to have negative here. It's not going to be 0 because we've already filtered out 0 here. And then we can, we already did that. I don't know. This feels a little bit ugly, but we'll do it.